Hi guys, and welcome to my WrestleMania main events tier list video. So yes, with WrestleMania 39 just over 3 weeks away, I figured let's get into the WrestleMania spirit with a good old-fashioned tier list video. But in this video, I'm going to be giving you my rankings and tier list of all the WrestleMania main events, but obviously not all of them, but from WrestleMania 28 to obviously Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar last year at WrestleMania 38. So basically the last 10 WrestleManias of main events. I'll be giving you. And after I've done that, I will give you obviously a few from the Attitude Era. So the reason I'm not doing every single one is because, yeah, my knowledge of like classic WrestleManias is very limited. I do know a lot about, say, some of the WrestleManias in the 20s and some of them from the Attitude Era, but my main, when I really got back into wrestling, was The Rock and John Cena, WrestleMania 28. So, yeah. So sit back, guys, and enjoy. So, kicking off this tier list, yes, we have WrestleMania 28 with The Rock and John Cena. Yes, this was the match which kind of got me back into professional wrestling back in 2012, and this match was absolutely huge. The Rock and John Cena. It was sold as once in a lifetime. Two faces of WWE going head to head. John Cena and The Rock. Had a whole year of build after what happened at WrestleMania 27, with The Rock costing John Cena his match against The Miz. And a whole year of build, and it got really heated, and I think there was a lot of real life animosity between the two. So the build was huge. I remember it. I think it was the most excited I'd ever been for a wrestling match in my entire life. So The Rock and John Cena, WrestleMania 28. It is gonna go Hmm. It's going to go in amazing. Yeah, it's not quite GOAT for me, but it's going to go in amazing because, well, the anticipation for the match was huge, like I said, but the match itself, while it was definitely a very good main event for a very, very, very good WrestleMania 28. I don't know, it isn't quite GOAT for me, but it still is an incredible match. It went on for 30 minutes. There were some great moments throughout the match. John Cena did dominate a lot of it, obviously, because he was, probably in the better in ring shape, whereas The Rock hadn't really had a proper match in over a year since the Survivor Series match with John Cena. So, these two, but they gel together really well in the ring. But like I said, The Rock did look a bit rusty and not quite in ring shape. And I think John Cena did have to carry The Rock throughout quite a lot of the match. And I did watch the match back recently, and yeah, John Cena kind of dominates a lot of it. The Rock does hit his moves like the Rock bottom and the People's Elbow and all that, but if you go back and watch it, John Cena kind of dominates a lot of the match, and he comes very close at one point, like when he caught The Rock from the leaping frog, like leaping splash with the AA, and The Rock kicked out. That was a great spot, and then of course the finish where John Cena goes to hit the Rock bottom, sorry, goes to hit the People's Elbow. The Rock catches him, um, and wins the match with a surprise rock bottom out of nowhere, 1, 2, 3. And it was a very good match. It wasn't quite GOAT for me because I do think, like I said, just the Rock did look a little bit rusty in the match, and it did drag on a little bit. It was, I think it was, like I said, 30 odd minutes. I think it went past 30 minutes, but not quite GOAT, but it still wasn't an amazing match for me, an amazing main event, and I really enjoyed it. So yeah, The Rock and John Cena. Then moving on to WrestleMania 29. Yes, The Rock and John Cena again. Oh, yes, twice in a lifetime. Once in a lifetime, twice in a lifetime. And yeah, this match just didn't have the same hype for it going in because the Rock was the champion. He beat CM Punk at the Royal Rumble that year. John Cena won the Royal Rumbles. We all knew it was going to happen. And it was just so obvious that John Cena was going to win this one. There's no way The Rock was going to beat John Cena in back-to-back WrestleManias. And this match, I'm gutted to say this, it's going to get meh because it just wasn't that good. It really wasn't a very good WrestleMania main event. The crowd were not into it at all. I think nowhere near as much as they were for the Mania 28 match. The crowd were into it because I think they all knew John Cena was going to win. It was so obvious he was going to get his redemption from losing to The Rock in WrestleMania 28. Also, The Rock got injured quite early on in the match, so The Rock just didn't look quite at it. I remember watching a documentary, and yeah, The Rock got injured. I think he pulled or tore a muscle early on in the match, so he had to wrestle the whole match severely injured. So John Cena again had to kind of carry the Rock through the match, and the finish was just so abrupt. They hit a bunch of finisher fests at the end, and then John Cena just won with a random AA to win the match. It was just so bizarre, and yeah, and that was kind of like a passing of the torch, really, in a way, because at the end of the match, the Rock kind of like came up the ramp of John Cena, saluted him, and they both held up each other's arms. But yeah, it was kind of passing of the torch, even though this was John Cena's last WrestleMania main event. So yeah, and it was also The Rock's final match, unless he's going to come back for a retirement match. This was his final match, and no, I don't count Eric Rowan at WrestleMania 32. So yeah, it was just a bit meh. The hype wasn't big. We all knew John Cena was going to win, and the match wasn't anywhere near as good as their 28 match, and it was just we all kind of felt cheated. Once in a lifetime, no, twice in a lifetime, lol, and it just wasn't as good, sadly. But then moving on to WrestleMania 30, yes, with Daniel Bryan, Randy Orton, and Batista, and that amazing triple threat, and we all know where this is going to go. Boom! Yeah, WrestleMania 30 with Daniel Bryan, Randy, and Batista is GOAT. It was an amazing main event. WrestleMania 30, probably one of my favourite WrestleManias, of course, Daniel Bryan Mania. Of course, earlier on in that night, he beat Triple H to get into the match. And it was just a fantastic match. The entire arena, the entire stadium, hell, the entire WWE fan base were behind Daniel Bryan. They didn't want Randy to win. They didn't want Batista to win, even though Batista won the Rumble that year. It was all Daniel Bryan. And it was a great match. Like, Batista and Randy did team up on Daniel Bryan a lot throughout the match, but Bryan kept hanging in there. It was just such a well-paced match. And Batista got his spots, Randy got his spots, but then towards the end, Bryan got back in it with the iconic tap out Batista, tap out Batista, tap out Batista, and he won. And he won both belts, and he became the champion to a massive pop. And the Yes movement had achieved its goal of winning the championship, and in front of 80,000 people in WrestleMania 30 in the Mercedes Dome, I think it was called. It was absolutely fantastic. What a match! Yeah, so that is definitely S tier for me. Then moving on, WrestleMania 31. Yes, Roman Reigns' first WrestleMania main event going up against Brock Lesnar, WrestleMania 31. And this is gonna get amazing. Yeah, this was a fantastic match. Of course, it was just so strange. This was the beginning of Roman's big push. 8 years ago? 8 years ago now. My goodness, when he started becoming the face of the company. Well, they were pushing him that way, and the fans just absolutely hated him. They were all rooting for Brock when Roman won the Royal Rumble that year, and the match was just crazy. Brock Lesnar just absolutely battered Roman Reigns the entire match. It was just a squash. Roman Reigns did get a bit of moves, but the crowd were just booing him so much. I've never go back and watch it. They had to mute the boos. The crowd were completely for Brock Lesnar, who was meant to be the heel, and Roman was the face. But it got reversed because the fans hated Roman so much, and every F5, every suplex, it was getting cheered, and it was just fantastic. And the crowd were completely behind Brock. But then towards the end, Roman got back into it. He hit a bunch of spears, he hit a few Superman punches, and it got a close near fall. And then we all knew the end. Seth Rollins, the heist of the century, he comes out and cashes in and wins the championship. So it was a really fun match. Both Brock and Roman beat the hell out of each other, and then out came Seth with the heist of the century just to put the icing on the cake. So it was an amazing main event. I wouldn't put quite GOAT status because the match was just really a beat down with Roman getting a bit of offense, and then Seth came, and so it isn't quite GOAT status, but it's definitely amazing, Brock and Roman, and it's easily their best match, of course, out of Brock and Roman's WrestleMania main event trilogy. It's easily their best match. Great. And then on to WrestleMania 32 with Triple H and Roman Reigns. Oh, and yeah, this match. A lot of people I know would put this in bad or meh. For me, oh, it's gonna get meh. Triple H and Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 32. It just wasn't great. One, it was so predictable. Roman Reigns was absolutely winning 100%. There was no way he was going to lose. This was his second WrestleMania main event. Triple H was just there to put Roman over. He was just really a after he won the belt at the Royal Rumble. he was really just a filler champion, so Roman could then win it back off him in front of a big crowd. But it was literally the exact same as the Mania 31 match. The crowd were just booing Roman and cheering Triple H the entire match. And the match just went on for too long. It was like 28, 29 minutes. The crowd were just not into it at all. And then the inevitable happened when Roman won at the end and won the championship, and the crowd were just very so mild booing. So yeah, not great, not great. WrestleMania 32 with Triple H and, and Roman Reigns. I mean, it wasn't bad. It was an okay match. Triple H got some moves. The best spot of the match easily was when Roman Reigns speared Stephanie McMahon through the barricade. That was that was great. So there were a few good moments, but it just because of the booking and the match and the crowd just did not care. It can't get higher than meh for me. Then on to Roman's third WrestleMania main event. Yes, from WrestleMania 33 in 2017, Roman Reigns going up against The Undertaker. And yeah, we all know where this is going to go. Bad. This match was just a train wreck. It was so bad. Oh man, I felt so bad for Roman Reigns because this match wasn't his fault. Undertaker just wasn't in ring shape. You know, he was coming off like I think severe thigh injury or surgery. You know, I remember watching the Last Ride documentary, and he got like an injection right before the match. Like he just wasn't in ring shape to put on a Mania main event match with Roman. I mean, he tried, but you could tell Roman really just had to carry Taker through this match, and it was hard to watch at some points. And then towards the end, Roman just like kind of dominated, and he was spear after spear until he eventually beat Taker. And it was just depressing, really, to watch Roman beat down Taker, and it was just bad. I watched it live in a pub, and we were all just sat there dejected when Roman beat Taker after a bunch of spears, and it was just like. But the best part of the match was at the end, where Taker pretty much retires. You know, he takes off his cap, he takes off his hood, his hood, his coat, and his gloves, and his hat, and he leaves it in the ring. That was like Taker's retirement until he came back at Crown Jewel until he came back at the Saudi show the next year. Sorry, WrestleMania 34 against John Cena. But still, yeah, it was just bad. I can't think of any redeeming qualities about this match really. Apart, I just can't. It was a bad WrestleMania main event. And I love Taker. He's the GOAT. He's one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. Even he admits he shouldn't have been in the ring against Roman that year. He just wasn't in ring shape. And then continuing with Roman's main events, yes, his fourth WrestleMania main events, going up against Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 34 for the Universal Championship. And this is going to get bad. This was not a good WrestleMania main event. Oh boy, the crowd were not into it at all. They were booing. I think no one wanted to see Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar main event WrestleMania 34. The crowd just didn't care in the slightest. There were Rusev Day chants. There were all sorts of different chants throughout the match, except for Roman and Brock. And it was really just a copy and paste of the WrestleMania 31 match. It was just a finisher fest, but Roman did get a bit more offense this time, but it just wasn't that good. The crowd did not care whatsoever. The only good bit of the match is when Roman got bust open and he was bleeding and he hit a bunch of spears. Brock kicked out, and then the very surprising finish when Brock just randomly won with an F5 out of nowhere and pinned Roman. I was like, okay. It just felt so out of nowhere because I think everyone predicted Roman to win this match because Brock had been Universal Champion for so long coming into this match, and everyone thought this was Roman's time to beat him because he didn't get the win at WrestleMania 31. But no, Brock retained. It was just such a what? But the match was just bad. The crowd didn't care. I didn't care. And Brock was pissed off too. Because remember, after the match, he just threw the belt at Vince, didn't he, backstage? So Brock was pissed off about something too. So it was a bad WrestleMania main event. It was an absolute stinker. Nowhere near as good as their 31 match. So yeah. But then things start to get better from here. So yeah, WrestleMania 35, of course, the first ever time the women main evented. Yes, we had Ronda Rousey, Charlotte Flair, and Becky Lynch in WrestleMania 35 2019. The first ever women's main event of WrestleMania, the triple threat. And this is going to go in pretty good. The match itself wasn't fantastic. I think it was a bit underwhelming, the match, but just the absolute hype of three women main eventing WrestleMania, winner takes all, of course, with the Raw and SmackDown belt. The hype going into this was huge, and the hype for Becky in 2019 was absolutely massive with her whole the man gimmick. It was absolutely huge. I remember the man t-shirt was selling out everywhere. It was just how over she was coming into this match, and how happy she was when she won both belts, and Becky two belts was born at WrestleMania 35. But that being said, it's not it's just going to get the middle tier because I remember the match itself just wasn't that great. I can't remember that much about it. It was just I think it could have been done a bit better. Maybe some bits were a bit botched. Some bits could have been better rehearsed. It wasn't the best match I've ever seen, sadly, but it definitely wasn't down here. But it just wasn't quite up in here too. So it was just very middle of the road. And the finish was so bizarre when Becky just countered Ronda's armbar and won with a cheeky pin. I was like, what? It just felt so random. Like she could have hit like a double man slam or something, but she just no, they didn't go with that sadly. But still, yeah, it was still a really good match. So yeah, it's gonna go pretty good. Well, I don't, it was a good match, not really good. Then moving on to the lockdown WrestleMania. Oh boy, the COVID WrestleMania. This was such a weird time, wasn't it? WrestleMania 36, 3 years ago. So of course, the first WrestleMania that took place across 2 nights. So night one, of course, was the Boneyard match of Undertaker and AJ Styles, and this is gonna get goat. The Boneyard match was absolutely incredible. It was so good. Obviously, it was a complete cinematic match. It took place in like this graveyard with the set and everything, and it was just so good. Like Biker Taker beating up AJ Styles all over this graveyard. Like, of course, the iconic tractor scene, which got turned into a meme with Taker behind AJ. Everything about this match was great, and then Taker just choke slamming AJ Styles off the top of the barn, and then the symbol, and Taker rides off into the night. It was just perfect. And this was of course, it was Undertaker's final match. This was his retirement match against AJ Styles in the Bone. So thank God. I think he wanted to maybe redeem himself after the stinker he had with Roman Reigns 3 years earlier. So it was a fantastic match for Taker to go out on. AJ Styles looked great too. It was a fantastic match, and I loved it so much. And the Lockdown Mania, man, WrestleMania 36 was great considering it was in front of absolutely no one. Yeah. And then the main event of WrestleMania 36 Night 2 was Brock Lesnar and Drew McIntyre. Poor Drew. Yeah, I felt so bad for Drew, man. He finally got his WrestleMania main event. He finally got his moment, and it was in front of absolutely no one. Oh, so the match, it's gonna get. It's gonna get meh. I can't give it bad because I just think it wasn't their fault. The match was so short. It was what? It was like 5, 6 minutes, not even that. Yeah, Brock hit a bunch of F5s, Drew kicked out, then Drew literally just hit a bunch of Claymores, 1, 2, 3. That was it. It was such a short match. I think they probably had a longer match planned if COVID hadn't happened, and it would have been in a much bigger arena. I think the match would have gone a bit longer, but it was just so short, so I can't give it higher than meh. But of course, I was so happy for Drew. It was his first WWE Championship. He finally got his moment, but it just was in front of an empty performance center, so I felt so bad for Drew. Oh man, but yeah, I feel like if it wasn't for COVID, this match and it was in front of an arena, this would be a B or A, but I can't give it higher than C because there was no match. It was just a bunch of finishes. Then Drew won. Then on to WrestleMania 37. Yes, so the main event for WrestleMania 37. Of course, Bianca Belair going up against Sasha Banks for the SmackDown Women's Championship. This was a fantastic match, and this is getting goat. This was fantastic. This was a really good match. This was like the rise of Bianca Belair. This was the start of her big push as the face of the company, as the face of the women's division. Sorry, of dethroning Sasha Banks at WrestleMania 37, and it was just a fantastic match. It had everything. It had drama. It had high stakes. And I think it was the first women's singles match to main event WrestleMania. If you don't, of course, because this was triple threat, and it was just absolutely fantastic. I really liked it. It had absolutely everything, and it was just a fantastic match. I can't say what enough praise about it really. And Bianca won with the KOD at the end to become the new SmackDown Women's Champion. And what Bianca's done since this match, like I said, this was the beginning of her big push because WrestleMania last year she had that great match with Becky Lynch. This year she's going to have a match with Asuka. That's 3 consecutive WrestleManias where she's in a women's championship match. She's just I think she's kind of taken the throne of the the face of the women's division, maybe from Becky, and Charlotte, obviously, and Bailey. Of course, Sasha, who's in New Japan now. But yeah, it was a fantastic match. Really, really good. And then the main event. Oh, sorry, the main event. The main event of night 2 of WrestleMania 37. Of course, we had the triple threat with Roman Reigns, Edge, and Daniel Bryan. This is going to go in amazing. Yeah, it's not quite ghost tier. Yeah, I might remember this match. I was just a little bit disappointed from a few things. I mean, the match itself was fantastic. I think all three men got a chance to shine. It was rehearsed really well. The spots were really well, and I went into that match not knowing who was going to win. I think it could have been anyone. Roman could have retained. Bryan could have won. Edge could have won. It was so close. But then at the end, when Roman wins, with a lot of help from Jey Uso helped Roman so much in this match. Bryan and Edge had it won on several occasions. But then at the end, when obviously Roman pins both Edge and Bryan, stacking them on top of each other, that was great. So it was a really, really good match, and Roman's reign continued. Of course, this was his first Mania main event as Universal Champion. So I mean, his first of this current reign, of course, but he had another one. He's got another one this year with Cody. So that's how long he's had the belt for. 3 consecutive WrestleManias he's had that Universal Championship. That's crazy. But anyway, this was his first one. But it doesn't quite get goat for me because I think the match just wasn't quite long enough for a triple threat main event match. I think it could have gone 5-10 minutes longer, but it still was a great match. So yeah, but just not quite S tier for me, but it still was amazing. And then we've gone to last year's WrestleMania. So WrestleMania 38 last year. So we had the KO show segment with Stone Cold and Kevin Owens. Of course, we didn't know what this was going to be going into last year's WrestleMania. We thought it was just going to be a talk show segment, but it was. But then it devolved into an actual match, and Stone Cold came out of retirement to have an actual wrestling match with Kevin Owens, and it was amazing. And I'm sorry, I know people are going to go, what? But this was GOAT for me. Because just seeing Stone Cold wrestling again, after what? When did he retire? 2003. So 19 years out of the ring to come back and kick Kevin Owens' ass in like a 14-minute match and hit a stunner. It was fantastic, man. I'm sorry if people will go, it's not GOAT, because Stone Cold's one of my top favourite wrestlers of all time. He's probably top 5, top 10 easily. So yeah, just to see him absolutely batter Stone KO, and he looked good. Stone Cold, considering he's in his 50s and hadn't been in the ring in 19 years, he looked fantastic, and it was just such a fun to watch. It was so much fun to watch him kick KO's ass after the talk show segment. So yeah, really, really good. So it's gonna get good for me to just see the nostalgia of seeing Stone Cold back, and KO did great too. And then the main event of night 2, the biggest WrestleMania match of all time, as it was. Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns, of course, winner takes all. I don't know why. I think this is an old picture, but of course, Brock had the WWE Championship, Roman had the Universal Championship. Of course, the winner would win both belts. So the hype coming into this match was quite big because we're like, who's going to win? Who's going to win? I mean, I think it was obvious Roman was going to win, but the hype coming in was good because it was being hyped as the biggest WrestleMania match of all time. But the match itself, meh. It just wasn't great. Was not great. I think it really under-delivered. I was expecting a lot better, considering how much it was hyped. The biggest WrestleMania match of all time, and it literally went 13, 14 minutes. It was just a bunch of finishes. And Roman just won with a spear out of nowhere. It just felt so random. I did hear Roman did get injured during the match, so that maybe they had to cut it short. Maybe that's the reason, because I was expecting this match to go at least 20 minutes. I know Brock doesn't really have long matches, but like I said, the biggest WrestleMania match of all time, and it was just another Roman and Brock match, very similar to the WrestleMania 34 match. Not quite as bad as the 34 match, but it was something similar. And out of the 3 Mania main events they've had, Brock and Roman, 31 was by far the best. But yeah, 38 last year was just a bit of a letdown, sadly. But I think they definitely redeemed themselves at the last man standing match at SummerSlam last year, because that was amazing. So yeah, guys, that is my tier list of all the WrestleMania main events for the last 10 years. Well, going from WrestleMania 28 all the way to WrestleMania 38. Yes, and of course, I wonder where 39s will be, because of course WrestleMania 39 is coming very shortly, right round the corner. I'm sure Cody and Roman will be up here. The main event of night one, I'm not sure what it's going to be. I think it's going to be um, Charlotte and Charlotte and Rhea Ripley. That'll probably be up here too. So yeah. But before I finish, I do want to go over some matches that of course, I do know from other from classic WrestleManias very quickly. So quick fire. WrestleMania 17, The Rock and Stone Cold, one of the best wrestling matches of all time. One of my favourite wrestling matches of all time. Arguably the best WrestleMania main event of all time. It GOAT tier. Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, career versus streak. That's going to get amazing. That was a fantastic match. The Rock and Stone Cold, WrestleMania 15. That's going to get amazing. John Cena and The Miz, WrestleMania 27. Meh, not great. Kurt Angle and Brock Lesnar, WrestleMania 19. Amazing. Maybe even GOAT. No, that's just going to get amazing. A fantastic match. Any other matches here that I know? Let's have a quick peek. Of course, Edge. Edge. How could I forget that? Edge and Undertaker at WrestleMania 24. I think that was it. I think 24, 23. That's gonna get amazing. The Fatal 4-Way at WrestleMania 2000. Yeah, meh. Wasn't a great match from what I remember. John Cena and Triple H at WrestleMania 22. That is gonna get pretty good. What else? What else do I remember? Triple H, Shawn Michaels, and Chris Benoit at WrestleMania 20. I think that was WrestleMania 20. Yeah, that's gonna get amazing. That was a really good match. Randy Orton and Triple H. That's gonna get pretty good. Yeah, because I remember that match being a bit disappointing, and people were thinking it didn't quite deliver. But that was like Randy Orton's big moment, and it didn't quite deliver because I think everyone was so hyped about Shawn Michaels and Undertaker because they had one of the best WrestleMania matches of all time on that card, but it wasn't the main event sadly, so it kind of overshadowed poor Randy and Triple H. Anything else there that I don't quite remember these? Oh, God, I forget WrestleMania 23, John Cena and HBK. That's gonna get amazing, really good match. Yeah, and these are all like from the classic WrestleManias that I don't quite remember. Oh yeah, and Chris Jericho Triple H WrestleMania 18. That's gonna get pretty good. It was okay. It didn't quite deliver up to the hype because I think that WrestleMania from that WrestleMania, all everyone remembers WrestleMania 18 is The Rock and Hulk Hogan. This match kind of just I kind of overshadowed this match. Poor Triple H. These two matches they kind of both got overshadowed by two much better matches previously on that card. But and these WrestleManias I don't quite remember. Of course I know. Well, how could I forget one of the most iconic WrestleMania main events of all time? Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant. That's gonna get effort. That's gonna get GOAT. The match itself wasn't great because Andre at that point couldn't do much, but just for that body slam, which is one of the most iconic moments in professional wrestling history. That body slam when he body slammed Andre. That's 40 years on, 45 years on, whatever it was in the 80s. That it was just iconic. So just for that moment, it gets S. The GOAT. So yeah, and of course, and last one, Triple H and Batista at WrestleMania 20. When was that? Was that WrestleMania 21? I think it was. That's going to get amazing. Yeah, Batista and Triple H at WrestleMania 21. And all the rest were just a bit before my time as a fan, so I wouldn't be able to give my full opinion on them, sadly. So yeah, guys, those are my WrestleMania main events, my tier list of all the WrestleMania main events that I remember. What do you think, guys? Comment below. Where would you put some of these matches? Of course, I'm sure you don't agree with all of my picks, so comment below. Let me know. Thank you all for watching, guys. Are you looking forward to WrestleMania 39? I certainly am. I'll be back next week with a WrestleMania video for like my poster, etc. Then I'll be back the week after with my WrestleMania predictions with Callum. We're all heating up now for WrestleMania 39. Woohoo! So thank you for watching, guys, and I'll see you all very, very soon.